the adaptation of film has benefited the gospel of Jesus Christ. Curiously enough, the first movie projector was created by a man named Thomas Edison, who himself was a very devout Christian. And an interesting historical tidbit, he tried to give the copyright for movie projectors to his local church, and if you can believe it, they actually rejected the patent for the movie camera from a member of their own church. Today, we know that Christians were some of the first people to use the movie camera to present film to expand the work and ministry of Jesus. 7 of the first 10 full-length films that were ever made had the name Passion in the title, meaning they were talking about the life, death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus. And today, the #1 most watched film in all-time history is Jesus of Nazareth. It was an inexpensive film put together by Campus Crusade for Christ, and it has been shown around the world in multiple languages, and they say that over 200 million people have given their lives to Jesus as a result of seeing the film. To which we would say, praise be to God, that they're being faithful to Jesus' command to go into all the nations of the earth and preach the gospel, and they're following Paul's admonition to use all methods that are at our means and culture to reach as many people as we possibly can. And what I find very interesting today is that the first public movie wasn't shown in the U.S. until about 1896. The first movie theater wasn't opened until 1902. And today the film industry is enormous, and occasionally a film about Jesus will break into the mainstream, as we saw with Mel Gibson's movie, The Passion of the Christ. That being said, what is also interesting is that today there are more movie screens in churches than there are in theaters in the United States of America. Television, as well, was yet another cultural adaptation that Christians have used. In 1927, the first television set in its modern form was used, and today, curiously enough, there are twice as many televisions in American homes as there are people who live there. And again, Christianity has used television, sometimes for good, sometimes for not so good, to beam the preaching and teaching of the Bible into the homes of countless people around the world. And then everything changed in the 1990s when the internet came into existence. In 1990, the modern-day form of the internet was created, and in 1995, it essentially went public. And just think of how that has absolutely transformed the delivery system of the preaching and teaching of the Bible about Jesus. Now, all of this is to show that theologically, there are reasons why we are to be flexible with our methods, though we are to be firm with our doctrines. That historically, the church has always been on the leading edge of innovation and use of new technology for the work of the ministry of Jesus. And what we see today is that in many ways, these adaptations have changed the way our economic infrastructure of our whole culture exists. There's a man named James Gilmore. He's a Christian brother and a friend. And he is a man who teaches at the Harvard Business School, does a lot of consulting and such. He's got a very fascinating book called The Experience Economy. And in it, he says that there have been a number of adaptations in our economic system over the course of our history. That initially, business was essentially founded on commodities. Meaning, if you want lumber, you got to go chop down a tree. If you want a cup of coffee, first you've got to grow coffee beans. It's really the raw stuff of the earth. And then the second level of economy is that goods came into existence, where you could go to the lumber store and buy lumber, or you could go to a distributor and buy coffee beans. And then there was the third layer of the service economy, where now someone will actually come and build your home, or someone at the restaurant will actually pour your coffee. They serve you. After that, we receive the information age and the information economy, whereby magazines and newspapers and the internet and television and radio and advertising and marketing and all of these various distribution channels for the communication and articulation of ideas exploded. And so today people receive information, not just goods and services. This led to the fifth incarnation of our economy, which is the experience-based economy. And it used to be that you would pay for goods that you could tangibly hold, and today you pay for experiences that essentially just live on in your heart. This includes film, music, and such things. And so today, as we've seen the transition from a commodities-based culture, which is really in many ways the world that Jesus and Paul lived in, all the way up to our present-day experience economy, Gilmore goes on to articulate three kinds of experiences. He says the first is an observation experience. And in watching this video, you are having that kind of experience. You are observing, and that is an experience. The second form is a participation experience. The second form is a participation experience. A participation experience is not where you simply just passively observe, but you respond and participate. Were you to attend one of our church services, you would respond with prayer. You would respond with singing. You would respond with tithes and offerings. You would respond with partaking of communion. You would respond with getting to know other people in the church. And there would be various ways that you would participate in your experience. And then thirdly, there are immersion experiences where you help to create the experience that you're enjoying. Now, to be sure, preaching through video is an observation experience. But as people participate, it becomes for them an immersion experience as they enjoy the relationships that are the undergirding of the life of the church. And even insofar as preaching and teaching that is distributed by video is concerned, it is now possible for people to take clips, to edit them, to put them together, to combine information, and in so doing, the internet and the use of technology allows people around the world to not only observe Bible teaching and preaching and participate, but also to immerse themselves in creating new expressions and forms and new teaching and gathering ideas and combining them together in various ways. And so any church that is unwilling to adapt itself to culture is in effect saying, we do not care about a certain people group that speak the language of technology, that there are tribes of people who are technologically oriented, but we do not have anything to offer them other than a very traditional way of doing church, which may work for some, but as the new economies continue to increase, there becomes an increasing need for new wineskins and churches to hold ministries for those people. So theologically, there's good ground for being technologically adaptable. Historically, there is a long precedent of example. Culturally, there is a great need. And practically, my final section of comments are related to the matter that for many churches, it is necessary.